Blog Talk Radio.
Right. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon. Shalom. Shalom, people, family, brethren, and sisters. So, tonight, I want to talk about a couple of things. I'm not going to be here long, but I just want to talk about a couple of things because this is what I keep seeing in my mind, in my heart. This is what keeps coming at me. It's a reoccurring theme. And it's very interesting, this concept. What I keep seeing is Revelation 3 and 9. Behold, I will make them of the synagogue of Satan, which say they are Jews and are not, but do lie. Behold, I will make them to come and worship before thy feet, and to know that I have loved thee. That's what I keep getting that. And when I take a step back and try to put those puzzle pieces together as to why I'm seeing this and what am I to be seeing, what comes to my mind is that's the next phase. That's the next phase. You know, on the back of this Kanye and Kyrie thing, and by no stretch of the imagination, are those brothers not take the deal, okay? And, you know, I say that a lot. Hold on. I say that a lot, but what I mean by the deal is the deal, Matthew 4, 1 through 11, right? The deal that Satan, so-called, Satan, tempted Christ with, the small hats, the synagogue of Satan, took the deal from Satan. So they took the deal and passed it on to some of our people to take the deal, and our people took the deal. And this is the next phase. The next phase is to expose this deal. We have seen the Most High put together this whole multiple episode movie in our face right now. He killed the queen. Took her. Right? The last of the 70 shepherds. Once she died or once she was taken, as the rich man was, everyone started coming for her stolen goods. Everything started going into, slipping into darkness, right? Slipping into darkness. And so from that point, that move that the Most High did, we start seeing the Gentiles, and this is the other thing. I'm going to stop using Gentile because from what I know and what I've been reading, the Gentile is someone who doesn't believe in the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. But the heathen is someone who can't. A Gentile is someone who doesn't believe, meaning they have the opportunity to believe. A heathen is someone who can't. So the Most High is showing these heathens, and it's funny because the heathen wants to interject pagan, and we're going to talk about that in a minute. They want to use pagan as what the Greeks were. No, the Greeks were heathens. They weren't pagan. Pagan just means natural, naturalistic. Heathen is someone who can't believe in the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Okay? You know, and there's been plenty of heathen. I mean, Goliath was a heathen. The giants were a heathen, were heathens. The Amorites were heathens. Okay? I mean, the Amalekites were heathens. The Horites were heathens. All right? So we have to make a distinction between it, because this is the time of revelation. We're revealing these things because the heathen has created such a dysfunction of confusion that people don't know really. We really don't know what is what, and you know, it's the Father that's giving us, through His Spirit, giving us understanding and wisdom and knowledge. Okay, so we have to set things straight, make things and use the right frequency. It's like what we're doing now. What we're doing now is tuning an AM radio. Remember back in the day when you had to tune that radio to get that right frequency? This is what we're doing. This is what the Most High is doing with us. He's tuning us. And a lot of us is coming into that frequency. Well, many of the few are coming into that frequency. And some of us still have a lot of static. And some of us just are turned off altogether. So this is the difference. This is why we have to reveal the right thing. We have to know the correct corresponding AM radio numbers, for AM Israelite numbers, AM Most High numbers, in order to get the proper frequency. Okay? And part of that is understanding heathen, Gentile, and Israelite. So let's get back. So Kyrie and Kanye took the deal, as did most all of those people in Hollywood. Okay? And most all those people that look like us, Negroes, in high governmental places, and education places, and religious places. And, people, well, it doesn't matter. It does matter. It does matter. You have to know who not to be led by, one. And two, you need to understand how history repeats. The Father does not change. I talked about that last week. You can't go in and say, the Christian or the Gentile, because the heathen does not consider. So the Gentile Christian will say, oh, the Father's going to change. He did away with the Old Testament and his people, the Israelites, but now the church, the Greek Roman church, is his people now. But yet at the same time, there's this synagogue of Satan sitting over here in Palestine. So which is it? Are you the people? Are they the people? Who's the people? Right? So when we're talking about Kyrie and Kanye, we're talking about those that took the deal. So they took the deal. They can't get away from that. However, in the aftermath of them coming out and saying, doing something, right? Because Kyrie just posted something on social media, and Kanye said something, it has created a backlash to the synagogue of Satan that many are not paying attention to. These people are now being put on the spot because many people are tired of hearing their ranting and rhythm and roll about anti-Semitism. So this time when they did that, brothers and sisters in the truth said, wait, what is this Semitic mean? What does this mean? What does Semitic mean? And they just looked up in the European dictionary, and it told us that it meant Afro-Asiatic. Okay? And when you go look up the definition of Afro-Asiatic, you also get Semitic, Hebrew. So we can understand, those that have ears and have eyes, we can understand what this means. This means that for Ukrainian people, Khazarian people, Roman people, Greek people are not Afro-Asiatic. So therefore, they cannot be Semitic, which then means we cannot be anti who we are. It is an oxymoron to do that. Now, granted, we could be when we didn't know, but we know now. Okay? So there's no anti-Semitism. And the irony is that they're using it. They use it so much. They use it like a crutch or like cane. They just, or walker. They just using it anytime. All the time they're using that. It don't matter. Somebody say, hey, Palestine, that's Palestine's land. Anti-Semitic. And it's like, wait, time out. Time out. Why is everything anti-Semitic? And as I said, that word doesn't really truly fit you and your people for you to continue to use it. So what the Most High is doing is he's making them use it. He's giving us eyes and ears so that we can now question and have the authority to do so. Because the next phase is, after he has them fight, after, who's fighting? The heathens are fighting each other. They're lying on each other. They're not worrying about us. They're not concerned about black people. Matter of fact, they don't even care about us. The only thing they really truly care about is Kyrie and Kanye saying something to confirm to us that have ears and eyes that we know we're on the right path, that the Father is working for us. Just like the Father is doing with the stars and the constellations, just like he did with the New Age, just like he's done with the weather. These are all confirmation for us. What is the difference between 40 years, 20, 30, 15 years ago and now? Is that we are saying who we are. That's never happened in the last 400 years. We are now saying, hey, we as a collective know who we are. And it doesn't matter if you believe that we all came from Africa or we came on the slave trade or these Europeans were smart enough to logistically do that, or you believe that, we were here in the Americas originally. None of that matters. What matters is that we are saying we are Israel. Like that marinade, there are many Negroes, African Americans, coloreds, blacks, that say they are Israel. And again, this is a time period where all this truth is, when all this revelation is coming out. So this is what's coming out to me. This is this 3:9, Revelations 3 and 9. They're coming. They are about to be humbled. They're about to be exposed. They're about to be humbled, and then they're going to come and worship at our feet. And they're going to know that the Father, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, loved us. Because that's the whole thing. We're nobody because they say, who is your God? Where is your God? You don't even have a God. Nobody loves you. You don't even love yourself. This is what they've said over the last 400 years. And that is a mind game. That is a MK Ultra type mental diseasement that they put into the minds of our people for so long. But hey, that's history. That's his story. That's what he's not wanting everybody to know, but it's already coming out. all of the things that's happening in the Ukraine, all of, trust, they're telling them it is done. It is done. Implicating the English and blowing up the Russian bridge. I mean, you can't make this stuff up. These people are so benign and ignorant in their own folly that they believe that, nobody can take her down. And take her down could be the U.S., England, whatever heathen nation is around us. They feel nobody can take them down, hence why they fight. Hence why they believe that they can destroy the earth. Because these people are heathens. They're not reptiles. They're not, they could be. I don't know. They're not aliens. What they are a degeneration, heathenistic being. A recessive degenerate heathen being. And the Creator, the Father, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, created them for a purpose. He told us he will bring a foolish nation and put over us. So are these people not acting foolishly? I mean, shoot, they've always acted foolishly. But are they not acting foolishly? Or are they acting foolishly today? This whole issue of theirs stems from the Greeks. But first, let's go to the deal, because you got to understand what the deal was. The deal. Here's the deal. This is the deal that the issues took. Okay. Now, not all of them, but most of them. Okay. And the small hats and their conservative group and their liberal group and their group that believes that they are the chosen people, this is the deal that they took. And now it is DNA'd in them. It is embedded in them. Okay. Then Jesus was led up by the Spirit into the wilderness to be tempted by the devil. And when he had fasted 40 days and 40 nights, afterward he was hungry. Now when the tempter came to him, he said, "If you are the Son of God, command that these stones become bread." He answered and said, "It is written, man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceeded from the mouth of God." Then the devil took him up into the holy city, set him on the pinnacle of the temple, and said to him, "If you are the Son of God, throw yourself down, for it is written, he shall give his angels charge over you. And in their hands they shall bear you up, lest you dash your foot against a stone." Jesus, Yahushua, said to him, "It is written again, ye shall not tempt the Lord your God." Again, the devil took him up on an exceedingly high mountain and showed him all the kingdoms, this is the deal, and showed him all the kingdoms of the world and their glory. And he said to him, "All these things I will give you if you will fall down and worship me." I'm going to read that again, because this is the deal that the Issues took. This is the deal that the Issues gave to the heathen, that the heathen gave to the Gentile, and that the Gentile imposed over us, okay, when we were blind. 8, again, the devil took him up on an exceedingly high mountain and showed him all the kingdoms of the world and their glory, okay, their fame. And he said to him, "All these things I will give you down and worship me." So when we see all these, people talk about, the Illuminati, and they talk about Satan worship, this is the deal. They're worshiping him because they've taken the deal. Okay? Then Christ said to him, "Away with you, Satan, for it is written, you shall worship the Lord your God, and him only you shall serve." Or better stated, you shall worship the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and only him shall you serve. Okay? Then Satan left him, and behold, angels came and ministered to Christ, okay, to Yahushua. So the deal, right? That's the deal. So this is where the whole world is. Their deal, their contract has come up for renewal. Watch this. Their contract has come up for renewal, and it can't be. It can't be renewed. Why can't it be renewed? Because there are now people living in higher places that deal or that contract does not represent. Okay? So that contract now only was enforceable when the people that was enforcing it were in control or had the authority. Okay? Now those people have no authority. They can't enforce their deal. And now the contract is null and void. However, it's still available. Okay? It's still available if people choose that. That's part of the whole situation, the whole end times. You can choose left or you can choose right. So when we talk about this deal, this is what we got to look at. We got to look at it from, okay, who has taken the deal, and are they really part of the journey or are they really truly walking on this path, or are they on the other path taking the deal, trying to tell everybody about the deal that they took, and they're not happy about the deal that they took? Kyrie going, hey, Hebrews, Negroes, check it out. Well, that's fantastic. He's not promoting them. He just put that out there. However, because he took the deal, he was not able to do that. So he's still with the people who took the deal. He's not on the road, the road least traveled. He's not on that road, nor is Kanye, by no stretch of the imagination. But I do appreciate the Father using them as vehicles to allow others of our people to recognize errors in the narrative that the Ishes who took the deal brought forth from the pits of hell. Okay? I'm very happy. I'm over the moon that is how it went down. Because when Kanye was talking about slavery is a choice, didn't nobody say nothing. We, brothers and sisters, Kanye crazy. But in fact, is it a choice? Is it a choice now? Was it a choice then? Will it be a choice in the future? So was he crazy or was he just saying? But even though he took the deal, or rather, even though I know he took the deal, none of that really, none of that has any impact on me, okay? Other than to see how that wave of questioning based on what he and Kyrie said has overtaken the small hats, okay? I'm ecstatic to see that. That is awesome. We serve an awesome God. Awesome. Awesome. Where am I on this? Okay. So this is the second book of Maccabees. So I'm going to read this first part, and then I'm going to go into something else, because this is the good news to our people, okay? This was prudent then, and it's still prudent today, okay? The brethren, the Judeans that be at Jerusalem and in the land of Judea, wish unto the brethren, the Judeans that are throughout Egypt, health and peace. God be gracious unto you, and remember his covenant that he made with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, his faithful servants, and give you all in heart to serve him and to do his will, with a good courage and a willing mind, and open your hearts in his law and commandments, and send you peace, and hear your prayers, and be at one with you, and never forsake you in time of trouble. And now we be here praying for you. Okay? So this is the good news. And that's a great little introduction. That's a great little prayer, a great howdy do to all the brothers around the world. That's from me to you, from the Maccabees to me to you, brothers and sisters. That holds true today. God be gracious unto you, and remember his covenant that he made with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, his faithful servants, and give you all an heart to serve him and to do his will with a good courage and a willing mind, and open your hearts in his law and commandments, and send you peace. Shalom, brothers and sisters. All right. I wanted to read the Maccabees, but it's a lot, and I think that everyone needs to pick a book up and read it themselves. So I'm going to do just a little bit of, give a synopsis of it, okay? To show people what the Maccabees is about and how it relates to today, okay? Okay, here we go. The Bible is silent about the history of the Judeans from the time of Ezra and Nehemiah, about 400 BC, until the time of the Maccabees revolt around 165 BC. But in the larger world, the period of about 250 years was one of intense political activity, a period in which the Persian Empire weakened and crumbled before the Greeks led by young King Alexander the Great. Now, we all got to remember and understand we got to consider the source. These people didn't know anything else. This is why they're foolish, because they thought that the world revolved around them, when the world was bigger than them. That's why he said, I'm bringing a foolish nation, because they don't even consider that there's people other than themselves. Okay? So he says, but in the larger world, that period of about 250 years was one of intense political activity, a period in which the Persian Empire weakened and crumbled before the Greeks led by young King Alexander the Great. But I've always said this, but history, everybody's story was still happening outside of this Greek madness, okay? We know this. We know that the Incas was going on, Aztecs, and, they want to say, oh, that was much later. These people, listen, consider the source, right? These people don't know what they're talking about. They are very self-centered people. This is the problem with the heathen. They never consider anything else. This is why they got to pay. This is why they're going to pay. This is why things are the way they are today. Okay? Alexander, who had been a student of Aristotle, had a deep love for everything Greek and dreamed of transforming and uniting the Eastern world by means of Greek culture. It's funny how he said the Eastern world, but yet all that now today is the Western world, right? The Eastern world by means of Greek culture, including its language. After winning many battles, the young king died in his early 30s in Babylon in 323 BC. Well, I stand corrected. Maybe they're talking at this point, he wanted to control China, He wanted to take over the world that they knew, right? So, okay, that would make sense. In his book, Salvation History, now this is where, this again, consider the source. In his book, Salvation History, An Introduction to Biblical Theology, Friar Neil Flanagan states that Alexander's dream of one world occurred in a way he would never have dreamed. He writes, paradoxical as it might appear, Alexander's dream of one world was eventually brought to a far more successful realization through the power of prayer and the spirit than through that of sword and armor, which is lies. In the first 50 years after Christ's death, Christianity swept like a wind driven fire through the world which Alexander had conquered. Now, again, through the world in which Alexander had conquered. So their Christianity was not a global phenomenon, okay? Christianity in which there was neither, this is the funniest thing. Now listen to this. Christianity in which there was neither Jew nor Gentile, neither slave nor free man, but all men one in Christ. Well, that's poppycock. They were killing. This is why it's all foolish. One in Christ. On the natural level, this rapid extension of Christ's church owed a sizable debt to Alexander, whose conquest has spread the Greek language throughout the civilized world of his time. There were many other people on all the continents, all over the world, living during Alexander's time. Because Alexander didn't know it, and because the Greeks and the Romans and the Europeans are very selfish and self-centered, they thought that was it. Oh, it's only this. We're the center of the world. Now, mind you, these people didn't really understand Christ, remember, because they killed him. Okay? So they didn't understand the esoteric knowledge and wisdom that Christ was bringing to the table to his people for the end days, because it was not given to them to understand, because he didn't come for the Greek and Roman murderous church. He came for the lost sheep of the house of Israel. Again, this is history. This is not, my opinion. This is history. His story. This is his story. Okay? So people can dabble. It's just like you can dance with the devil if you want to, but don't be mad when he takes you. You can play with fire if you want to, but don't get mad when you get burned. This is where we are today with this Christian insanity and the small hat ism. Okay? The Judaism. That what the hell is that? Judaism. It don't sound like Israelite. It doesn't sound like the covenant that the Father gave. Listen, Moses, I'm giving you Judaism. He didn't say that. This is what, listen, Moses. Matter of fact, forget you, Moses. Listen, Jacob, I'm going to give you Judaism. Matter of fact, forget you, Jacob. Listen, Paul, I'm going to give you Christianity. He didn't say that. Nowhere does it say that. That is BS. That's why today, again, what's the reason why all this stuff is going on? Why the confluence of events are happening in great rapidity? Because we are the time clock. We, the Israelites rising up, the Israelites awakening, like in Ezekiel 37, the dry bones awakening, standing up a mighty and exceeding army, is the time clock. Has nothing to do with some stupid temple that the Jewish people are going to build. The temple is innate. It is esoteric. It is in us. We are the fourth temple. We are the third temple. We are the temple. The kingdom is in us. We bring forth, we manifest the kingdom. The Gentiles, the heathen, they can't manifest nothing other than death and destruction. And that is evident by their history. Again, not my opinion. That's why this is all crazy for us to even be entertaining their madness at this particular time, when the revelation is telling us that A, the synagogue of Satan to say they are, but are not, and B, they're going to come and worship at your feet and know that I have loved thee. And C, I'm bringing them all down into the valley of Jehoshaphat, and there I'm going to destroy them all and judge them. So what is he going to do that? Is he going to do that to Israel? He's already destroyed majority of Israel. He's purged his people. Matter of fact, what sense would it make to destroy the people who he has placed sinews on, who he has brought up, who he has brought the breath of life into again? Why would he destroy them? Why would, when Christ comes back, why would all nations, including Israel, be mourning? No. All nations outside of Israel will be mourning. All nations outside of Israel will be pushed to the valley of Jehoshaphat and judged. This is the key. We are the key. We hold the key to the gates of the kingdom. And if you will, heaven as well. The heavens as well. It's so funny because I see this as, okay, so it's internal, right? Internal, esoteric is internalizing, understanding the deeper meaning of things, right? So we're alive, we're a vessel, we're part of the Christ consciousness, I dare say that word. We're part of the Father's, the body of the Father's kingdom, okay? So, and we're alive. So is the earth. The earth is alive. It too has an internal consciousness, internal beings, internal life. It also has surfaceable life. And then it also has heavens above. So we believe, we don't know. Because ain't no man gone beyond the skies, the firmament. So I digress. So let me keep going. Paradoxical as it might appear, Alexander's dream of one world was eventually brought to a far more successful realization through the power of prayer and the spirit than through that of sword and armor, which again is lies. In the first 50 years after Christ's death, Christianity swept like a wind-driven fire through the world which Alexander had conquered. Christianity in which there was neither Jew nor Gentile, neither slave nor free man, but all men, one in Christ, as long as you were a heathen. On the natural level, this rapid extension of Christ's church owed a sizable debt to Alexander, whose conquests has spread the Greek language throughout the civilized world of his time. So let's go back and let's quickly just do a quick synopsis. On the natural level, this rapid extension of Christ's church owed a sizable debt, not to Christ, not to the disciples, not to the Father, not to the people, but to Alexander. Do you see what I'm saying? Okay? See, this is the error. This is where we have, we have not read history through the eyes of an Israelite before, or I should say in the last 400 years. So it's new to people when it starts to resonate. So we've got to read for context everything, because what the heathen does is they do a lot of interjecting. They want to act like, oh, well, you just got to say Jesus and that's it, and he loves you, and you can choose Jesus whenever you want to, just say you love him, do kill, steal, and destroy, just say you love him, and you're going to heaven. None of that is biblical. Sounds good, but none of that is true, and none of that is biblical. Because it wasn't for them to have that choice. That choice was given to the Father. The Father chose whom he, she, whom he chose. Has nothing to do with, today I'm gonna choose Jesus. Tomorrow I'm not, because I'm gonna go and go to the club and I'm gonna go kick it have some fun, drink something, smoke something, do something. I'm gonna do a lot of baking tomorrow, so I ain't gonna buy. I don't need your Jesus tomorrow. You just hold up. See, this is a heathen perspective. A Gentile perspective is, shoot, I don't even care. I'm just gonna go and do my thing. It could be, could not. I'm just gonna go do my thing anyway. I'm just YOLO. That's Gentile. Heathen is, I'm not gonna deal with that. I don't even know what you're talking about. I'm just gonna do what I want to do. They both are degenerate responses of thought process, but they're two different people. Okay. So it goes on, and it's talking about the Greek language, blah, 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 and it says, it was with that language, and because of its universality, the Greek language was universality, right? Although that the Hebrew language was all throughout the world. It was on all the continents. Now think about that. It was in the three parts. It was in Asia, Africa, Europe, right? And the Americas. So the language Hebrew was more universal than the Greek. But this is something else you got to read between the lines, okay? So it says, throughout the civilization, it was with that language and because of its universality that the first Christian preachers, watch this, notably St. Paul, were able to announce effectively the good news of the world's salvation. So somehow Paul is a Christian, okay? I mean, Paul was a Gentile. And Paul understood his orders. Paul went after the Gentiles. He wasn't for Israel. The Israelites didn't care about what Paul was saying. Paul was dealing with the Gentile Israelites that were in Europe. And Paul had to be humbled enough to go to the Israelites, such as the Druids, Acts 29, right? He had to go and see some of the Moors. He had the Gauls, right? So it wasn't that Paul was this European white man that was running around talking about, Christianity. It's furthest from the truth. All right, so now it says, let's now go back to the historical context, Maccabees, okay? Now, I set this all up because, you got to understand that, they talk about when you're in school, they give you the Alexander story. Oh, he was the greatest. He did this, but he died young and blah, blah, blah. He killed, stolen, and robbed everybody, blah, blah, blah. And he's the greatest, blah, blah, blah. Okay? So this is what he did. This is the story, right? But they don't give you any understanding. So at the same time he was killing, stealing, destroying, supposedly the Southern Kingdom was still going on, still over in Palestine. Okay? In Palestine. Not Canaan. Again, you got to understand these concepts. Canaan is the promised land. Palestine is the land where they just settled, right? Okay. Let's now go back to the historical context for the books of Maccabees. After Alexander's death, his kingdom is divided up among his generals, right? We all know that. Two of the generals are Ptolemy and Seleucus. Both of these dynasties will rule the Palestine territory in the coming years. So we're way back in Alexander's time, and they're talking about that area still being called Palestine. So why is it today called Israel? See, that's poppycock. Israel is not a place. It is a people. It is not a place. It is a people. Okay? Both of these dynasties will rule the Palestine territory in the coming years. For about 100 years, Palestine is ruled by General Ptolemy and his successors. Initially, these rulers were tolerant of Israel's religious beliefs and practices. But by then, a way of life called Hellenism, from Hellen, meaning Greek, has spread to all of the lands that Alexander had conquered. The civil leaders seek to Hellenize their people as a way of achieving unity. Now watch that. Now don't skip over that. The civil leaders seek to Hellenize their people as a way of achieving unity. The upper class in Judah, now called Judea, embrace the Greek way of life for business reasons. They took the deal. And it's been going on forever. The civil leaders seek to Hellenize their people as a way of achieving. The civil leaders seek to make everyone Greek as a way of achieving unity. The upper class, the rich, the wealthy Negroes, okay, embrace the Greek way of life for money reasons, for monetary gain. This creates a great tension in Judea. Still creating the tension, right? Great tension in Judea between those who believe in a future under Greek culture, Phi, Beta, Alpha, Sigma, Slamma, Kappa, Rho, sci-fi, whatever. Believe in a future under Greek culture and those who resist it and see it, and this says as pagan, but I'm going to say and see it as heathen and are unfaithful to the Israelite religion. They're saying religion, but it's culture. So how is Greek culture, all of a sudden they talking about Israelite religion? They want to talk about the Israelite culture or society. Okay? The conflict escalates. About 198 BC, the Seleucid dynasty defeats the Ptolemies and takes over the Palestine territory. At first, they were tolerant of Israel's religion, Israel's culture, okay? Even as they pushed to Greek the people, to Hellenize the people. But when Antiochus IV becomes king of the Syrian section of Alexander's empire, everything changes drastically for the faithful Judeans. So, you see what's happening. These people are coming up. These Greeks, these heathens are starting to come up. I will put a foolish people over you, right? Because this is the time period we're talking about. Antiochus IV is infuriated at home. Well, let me back up again. This is the time period we're talking about then. Again, the Most High doesn't change. He uses the same tactics over and over and over again so that you will know that it's he that is doing things. The heathen has usurped that understanding, mixed things up, talking about, just like this, Israelite religion, not culture, not society, right? Oh, another Seleucid general came up and took over the Ptolemies, and he's from Syria colonies. And we don't even know if that's true, because how would these people, I don't believe the names are the same. It's just me. There's no proof that everything happened over there. There's no proof that all those places are there. There's no proof. These people have been digging in the earth, and every time they dig, the deeper they dig, the darker the earth gets, the more it looks like us. The deeper they dig, they can't find themselves. The deeper they dig, and the more archaeology that they bring forth, the more they realize that Israel was here long before anyone ever could imagine. The more they dig, they don't find any biblical remains, archaeology over there. But the deeper they dig over here in these in the Promised Land in Canaan, the land of Canaan, they find all types of biblical artifacts. But they hide them because this is what the heathen do. They hide them and say, oh, no, those giants they weren't giants over here. Oh, no, those were dinosaurs. Think about it. All right. At first, they were tolerant of Israel's religion, even as they pushed to Hellenize the people. But when Antiochus IV becomes king of the Syrian section of Alexander's empire, everything changes drastically for the faithful Judean. Antiochus IV is infuriated at how some Judeans continue to resist the Hellenization of their city and towns. So he begins a campaign to destroy, and this says Judaism, but to destroy the Israelite culture. Now watch this. And I want to do something real quick now that I'm back here on this one. Hold on. Give me one second. So, okay. This is see, we got to understand what Hellenization was, right? So watch this. This is Hellenization. So he begins a campaign to destroy Israelite culture. He builds a gymnasium for heathen games near the temple. Okay. So let's go to that word, gymnasium. The Caucasian dictionary today says a room or building equipped for gymnastics, games, and other physical exercises, okay? It also says a school in Germany, Scandinavia, or Central Europe that prepares pupils for university entrance. But the gymnasium, and watch this, because this is the heathen for you. This is. So again, he wanted to destroy Israelite culture, which was modesty, faithfulness, prudency, respect, love, kindness, and reverence to their God. Okay. Now, granted, I'm using the positives of the society because that's what the Father wanted his culture, his people to be. Okay. Now, of course, they fell short. We know that, but this helped them fall short. These Greeks. Okay, this helped them. Gymnasium. The gymnasium in ancient Greece functioned as a training facility for competitors in public game. It was also a place for socializing and engaging in intellectual pursuits. The name comes from the ancient Greek term gymnos, meaning, watch this, naked or nude. Only adult male citizens were allowed to use the gymnasia. So here's the deal. Let's go back. So he built a gymnasium next to the temple. So the temple signifies purity. So he was, the Greeks, they were sodomizing each other. So he had our elites, our rich, wealthy people sodomizing each other in a gymnasium. Sure, they talk about, X, Y, and Z, but then they're going up in each other. And we wonder how this demon has come into our nation. The Greeks. Right here. Antiochus IV. So he begins a campaign to destroy Israelite culture. He builds a gymnasium for heathen games, 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 near the temple. He forbids under the pain of death the honored observances of the Mosaic covenant, circumcision, Sabbath, and sacrifice. He confiscates their copies of the Torah and burns them publicly. He loots their beloved temple, and as a final horror, watch this, and this is their word, he sets up on the altar of Holocaust a statue of the heathen god, little g, Zeus. So they were consecrating, they were defiling our culture during the Alexander period of their story. No wonder they loved Alexander so much. They got to defile the purity of the Father. You see? This is the deal that they had to take. This is why today when Kyrie and Kanye are sitting there talking about, blacks are Semitic and whatever, Hebrews, nigger, all that don't mean a hill of beans because they took the deal. We don't know what Kanye's been doing, how impure he is. Now, granted, the Father can use whomever he wants. But if history is our teacher, we only need know and follow the Father. We don't have to worry about us that are part of the remnant. Do not have to worry about what Kanye and Kyrie talking about. What they talking about is of no consequence, because all they doing is confirming what we've been saying 7 years ago, 12 years ago, 40 years ago. See, they haven't given us no edification. They're not edifying us. Why? Because they still playing in the gymnasium. They still playing in the gymnasium. What they do. Our boule elites. Okay? What began as the imposition of an alien culture, that's the Greek, ends as a full-scale religious persecution of devout Judeans who are determined to hold on to their spiritual beliefs and practices of their ancestors. See that? That's why it's very important to read the Maccabees, because that's a history that we all know, we've all been taught, but we didn't get the other side of it. The Maccabees is a strong indication of what's soon to come. Shoot, we were talking about the Maccabees 4 or 5 years ago. Did in-depth reading on the Maccabees, how they had one of the, had the mother and her sons, and they killed the sons in front of the mother, who didn't want to. The damn Greeks were forcing them to eat swine, and eat probably doo-doo and everything else that's filthy, because they're filthy heathens. It's not my opinion. These are the facts. And today, you got all these people, I love Jesus. Can't we just get along? No, listen, listen. We are in the 10 virgins. This is we are in a multi-universe, a multi-dimensional universe right now. The 10 virgins is going on. The wheat and the tares going on. Hey, we're in a multi-dimensional parable right now. Okay? Wheat and the tares, the oil, the 10 virgins, the rich man, poor man, the eye of the needle, right? Revelation 3:9 and 2:9, Revelation 6 and 8 through 11, Daniel. You know, Mene tekel, you have been weighed in the balance and have been found wanting. Joel 2 and 3. Like this is the scriptures are just popping off the pages. The heathen and the Gentile are oblivious to it. That's why it's going to be so amazing, and it's going to be sad for them, unfortunately, when the day comes when they go, what? We have inherited lives from our fathers? What? Those black people weren't black at all? What? These are the people who we held in derision, who we use as bywords? They are the Most High's children, chosen people? It's going to be disheartening for them, but it's going to be amazing to us. And see, all of that is the good news. See, we already know the end. That's why we got peace. See, it's funny because back in the day, I'd be like, man, I don't even know why. I always had this anxiety because, everybody, I'm talking early 2000s, okay? Early 2000s, middle 90s, mid 90s to, mid 2000s, not 2010s, but 2000s, like 2009, right before 2010, I had anxiety because I was like, man, we're going to be in FEMA, these people, these elites are going to come, and, all this stuff that they love to talk. And then I was like, this rapture thing, how do I get on this rapture train? But the whole time, I was a consummate believer in the Father. I always had belief in the Father because I remember my mom and dad bought the storybooks, the old record storybook of the Bible. You play the record, you put the record on the vinyl, and you go through the pages, and it would read it for you, and it was dramatic. And I remember, and I was like, man, this is something. Especially that Egypt thing, I mean, that's another multi-dimensional page scripture parable, the Exodus. Goshen is a mindset. All this is about mind, the mind. To be at ease and to have peace of mind allows one to see the kingdom. To have not peace of mind, to be uneasy, does not allow one to see the kingdom. Simple as that. The esoteric understanding of who we are is literally destroying the nations as we think it. That as a man thinks, so shall he do. So we're manifesting as we are thinking this demise of the heathen and Gentile nations. It's happening. It's happening. So I'm going to read this little bit about the Maccabees. The Maccabees, the family which spearheaded the revolt against Antiochus, is known as the Maccabees. The leader and head of the family is Mattathias, an aged priest. After Mattathias dies, his sons take up the fight. Judas, the third son, is the most skillful fighter in the family. Because of his fighting skills, he is called Maccabeus, the hammer. The name the family becomes identified with. In time, the family and their descendants become known as the Hasmoneans. perhaps from some ancestors named Hasmon, when the successors of Judas becomes too worldly and take on the trappings of the prince of the Hellenistic world, and worst of all, proclaim themselves high priests, the most observant Jews known as the Hasidists, pious ones is what it means, they revolt. The story told in 1 and 2 Maccabees covers about 40 years from the accession of Antiochus IV in 175 BC to the death of Simon in 134 BC. See these numbers? It's going backwards. Again, going backwards. Doesn't even make sense. 175 to the death of Simon in 134. Who are these people? This is folly. This is the foolishness that we're talking about. Why wouldn't they just start the time properly? No, they had to flip it and trick it up and do all this stuff to it to confuse who? Us. Because this is about the Maccabees. Because they took this out. Oh, no, you niggas can't have that. The Maccabees. No, that'll tell on us immediately. First Maccabees was probably written by a Palestinian, right? Or we don't know. But we know everything, but we don't know. It was probably written by a Palestinian Jew around 100 BC. In its introduction to Maccabees, the Jerusalem Bible states, for despite the space he devotes to battle and political intrigue, the author of First Maccabees means to write a religious history. For him, the nation's distress is a punishment for sin, and the successes of his leading figures are won by the help of God. He is a Jew, jealous for the faith which he perceives to be at stake in the struggle between pagan infiltration and ancestral custom. He is therefore an uncompromising foe of the Hellenization, the sodomization, and an ardent admirer of the heroes who fought for law and temple, winning first spiritual liberty and next national independence. His story tells how Judaism, Israelites are the trustee of revelation, was preserved to the world. How Israel, the trustee of revelation, was preserved to the world of Israel. A bloody confrontation takes place between the Jews and the Seleucids, whose leader is now Antiochus Epiphanes. Remember? Epiphanes. Verse 8 tells us that after Alexander dies, his kingdom is divided between his generals. After the division, Palestinian Jews find themselves caught between two rival kingdoms. Eventually, the Seleucid kingdom prevails and takes over Palestine in 198 BC. When Antiochus Epiphanes becomes king of the Seleucids, he continues the policy of Hellenization, imposing the Greek way of life on the countries he has conquered. He builds a gymnasium in Jerusalem. He builds Sodom and Gomorrah in Jerusalem, a symbol of Greek, here they go, a symbol of Greek athletic and intellectual life. Now, the damn Greeks are nowhere near athletic as the Hebrews, the Israelites. Nowhere near. You can look at today. The Greeks ain't winning world championships. The Greek ain't winning track and field. I mean, this is stupid. This is the arrogant folly of the heathen. And they had for us for a time believe in this madness. He builds a gymnasium in Jerusalem, a symbol of Greek athletic and intellectual life, the chief instrument of Hellenistic propaganda. Judean youth who go to the gymnasium are often won over to the heathen ways of Greek culture. Imagine that. A perennial theme throughout the Old Testament is that the people want to be like their neighbors, whereas God wants them to be holy and chosen, consecrated people, clearly not like everyone else. Judean tradition is clear, or Israelite tradition is clear. If Israel is faithful to the covenant, things will go well for them, and vice versa. When the people start to embrace the ways of heathens, we can expect trouble. So here's the deal. It says Jewish tradition is clear. Then it goes on to say, if Israel, so which is it? Israel is Jacob. Jewish is kind of like Jacob, kind of like Israel. And yes, I don't know if they wanted to be like their neighbors, but they definitely wanted to be part of, they wanted the dainties. Our people wanted the dainties, the delectable things. And the heathen had them. They ate them. They did them. They did everything. There was no bounds for the heathen. But the Father, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, wanted boundaries. Forefathers, our ancestors, chose no boundaries. And we suffered for that. We suffered for that. And now, since we now understand, hey, we want boundaries. We want to be separate away from these degenerate, retarded people, of thought people, okay? We want to be different. We want to be away from them. We don't want to be part of their madness. Now it changes. See that? Israel is faithful to the covenant. Things will go well for them. So this is what's happening. We're starting to become more faithful to our covenant, to our Father. Because we see, it's like the Pisces, a Pisces who says, hey, the other 11 zodiacs, I see their error, so I'm going to do the right thing. So now we see the error because we were unblinded, so we get to see the error in our people. Of course we see the error of the heathen, of course. But we now get to see the error of our people. And the error of our people, our ancestors in particular, our forefathers and foremothers. Now we get to repent for their sins and start cleaning up ours and move into the righteous rule. This is the good news. These fools are doing what they're doing over in their country, in their land. Probably not all their land, but the land that they say is theirs, that European, Asian place and that African place. And they're going to die there. They will be destroyed there because absolute power corrupts absolutely. Live by the sword, die by the sword. An eye for an eye. This is what has happened. This is why we see all these current events happening and they ain't being raptured out. This is why we see the small hat people not trying to get involved because they took 20 shots of the jibber jab, of the jabberjaws. They took all types of jabberjaws. They mixed the jabberjaws. Shoot, they probably drank the jabberjaws because they knew they wanted to be alive, and they are dying. Literally, they're dying. So, all of them supposed to be in the army's struggling because the army was all jabbed up. Probably, and we know this because Netanyahu, whatever that fool's name is, he made a deal. This is how you know they made deals, right? They made a deal with the devil, and he made deals with the pharmaceutical company. are 100% vaccinated, and to basically to be the guinea pigs for the for the pharmaceutical companies who created it. I don't remember if it's Pfizer, Johnson & Johnson, one of them. It might have been both. Shoot, I don't know. They just they poisoned themselves, so they are out the game. Again, the queen is dead. Thank the Most High, all praises. She was the last of the 70 shepherds. She was the last of the gatekeepers over our people. Now we just got to kick out the boule gatekeepers. Whenever you see somebody talking about a kid like Herschel Walker, he trying to save Babylon. Anytime you see one of our people trying to save Babylon, they're the boule. That's how you know them. As simple as that. And so, how does this all affect your spiritual growth? You got to know your history. You got to know the history so that you will not be led astray, so you will not be deceived. So when I talk about the good news, you can equate that good news to you. Well, shoot, that is good news. All praises to the Father. They are going to come and worship at our feet. This is what's going to... See, when you believe who you are is who you are, then you manifest who you were supposed to be. Think about that. What has happened is we have manifested people who we are not, because these heathens said that we were these people who we are not, because somebody else took our name. So now we're coming back taking our name, and all hell is breaking loose. Their whole society is crumbling. Why? Because their whole society was based on us staying asleep, or rather staying blind, as it states. Israel was blind until the fullness of the Gentiles do come in. Well, the fullness is in. It's a wrap. And all we got to do is continue to manifest the positive, continue to manifest who we are, continue to dig deep internally and to find who we are, so that we can dig deep on through these records to find out even more, to confirm it, so that when they try to come up against us, they are like a gnat. Remember, keep your oil. Don't give your oil to nobody. Black, white, Puerto Rican, Haitian, don't do it. This is not the time to be with no oil or half of oil. Better have your oil cans full. Better be understanding who you are and looking at the signs and recognizing, 2024 is right around the corner. 2024, right around the corner. We got blood moons. The sky will turn dark with, the eclipses. The sky will turn dark. Dark sky, eclipse. The moon will turn red. Blood moons. We're having these things now. And they don't know what to do about it. But we do. We sit back and we pray in thanksgiving and joy. Because the Father got us. It's our turn, Israel. It's our turn. And these people, I'm telling you, it's funny just walking, going to the store, going to the grocery store, going to the gas station, getting gas and doing the things, that you're supposed to do, and watching how people react to you. It's not, funny, but it's just very, very interesting, because it's like, man, thank you. It's like, why couldn't you have treated us like this 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 100, 200, 400 years ago? Why did it have to come to you all losing everything to give us respect. Yes, sir. Well, thank you. Oh, you dress nice. Well, thank you. Hey, can I hold the door? Thank you. It's like, man, this is interesting. Maybe that's just me. I don't know. But I've noticed these things, the way that a lot of these Gentiles are acting. I even notice how some of the 2/3 are acting too. And they, the 2/3 are acting more out of sorts now. They don't know how to take me. They don't know. Again, it's like that frequency. I'm trying to stay tuned in, and the heathen see something. They got some frequency, not some frequency. They have a tuner themselves, and it's like when like a Geiger counter. When they come up against one of us, it goes off in the head. Something's different. Something's different. The 2/3. They don't even have it. They deaden theirs, right? So they don't even have that. So they're questioning. Well, what's going on with him? See? But when one of us meet one of us, it's all love, and that frequency is high. Then everything it just goes boop, 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 boop. And you're like, yeah, that's a brother. Hey, brother. Hey, sister. That's the beauty of the day. That's the good news. That's the good news. So with that, brethren, I have been on longer than I had anticipated. However, it is a good time to bring this to a close because I don't want to hold up everybody from whatever they're going to do whenever they do it, when they're listening. But I do appreciate any feedback, any conversation. I appreciate the vibe, the frequency given. So take care, Israel. Know that your salvation is nigh. Heathen, beware. Your destruction is nigh. Gentile, get off the fence and stop boasting, or your destruction is nigh. All praises to the Father, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, the Holy Spirit, who is wisdom, and Yahweh Shai. May they reign forever. Shalom.